rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. You know, we've had a lot of things happen in the recent history with regards to the movement, but I need everybody to remember that with all of these victories, we still have a bit of a long road ahead of us. And the reason being, and the reason why I say this, is because of the fact that it's been multiple decades that has reached us to this point. It is multiple decades that has brought us here. And we need to understand that it's probably going to take multiple decades for us to dig ourselves out. I've got a bunch of articles here that'll kind of show you that we are not out of the woods yet. And more of what we have endured over the course of especially the last 4 years that need to get investigated and undone. But before we do that tonight, we have BAM over on Rumble Land. BAM is up for the Pledge of Allegiance. And so if you would mind, if you are of mind, I should say, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with BAM as she recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, BAM, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file that you generate, and either send it to or share it to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the program. Looking for number 20. I'm at 19. I need number 20. So if you could get that in fairly soon, I'd appreciate it. That's right. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. All right. Let's talk about tonight's headline sponsor, which is theflagshirt.com. They have a bunch of patriotic styles for fall, whether it's hoodies or three-quarter zip, all decked out in the red, white, and blue. You can get you can check out all the men's, women's, kids, all the made in the USA, the Independence Day outlets, and of course all the accessories that are in the fabulous colors of red, white, and blue. If you go to theflagshirt.com and order $75 or more of product, you will receive free shipping. But I know not everybody can do that. Not everybody can afford that. And maybe you only want one item. You know, maybe that's it. Maybe that's all you want is just one singular item. You don't want to spend $75 for that to get that free shipping. So I'm going to help you out best I can. If you go to flagshirt.americanperspective.online, that's flagshirt.americanperspective.online, you'll be presented with a coupon code that you can copy and paste into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. That's flagshirt.americanperspective.online. You'll be presented with that coupon code, copy and paste it into the promo code box at checkout at theflagshirt.com. and you will receive $5 off your order. Go to theflagshirt.com, check out all of their stuff, and get yourself patriotized. All right. Well, folks, we are facing a shutdown. That's right. September 30th is the government shutdown. Now, keep in mind, okay, this is not like a oh my gosh, everything is shutting, everything's closing. Oh, we're not going to get any Social Security checks. We're not going to get any, no. As always, fear-mongering abounds. It's not that. What it is, though, is non-essential services will be shut down. But this time, Donald Trump, he's not playing. First of all, he didn't bother to, meet with the Democrat Party, which I got to be honest with you. I'm just going to throw this out there because I'm kind of a constitutionalist, a strict constitutionalist. It doesn't seem to make sense to me. It doesn't seem to make sense that the Democrats would be trying to meet with Donald Trump to broker some sort of a deal. I mean, I don't know how long, and this has nothing to do with Donald Trump necessarily, but I'm kind of confused here because Congress is the one that does all of this. Congress is the one that has the power of the purse. I mean, yes, they can talk to the president and they can try to, negotiate with the president to make sure that he doesn't veto the bill. But why do the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats all say that, oh, this is Donald Trump's fault because he won't meet with us? Do your damn jobs in Congress. You don't need the president to come up with a bill to fund things. You don't. I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, oh, yeah, we got to meet with the president. Why? Come up with the bill. Come up with the bill. It's like, really? Come on. Just do your damn jobs. I mean, I understand, you want the president to be on board because, let's be honest, if he vetoes you now, you don't have a veto-proof majority. But if you can work and hammer out a deal with the Republicans that are in Congress, if you guys can hammer out a deal there, I'm fairly certain that the president would have no other choice but to sign it because, let's face it, if he vetoes it and shuts it down, then it literally is all at Trump's feet. I mean, these Democrats, they're so damn stupid. They're just like, oh, he's not meeting with us, so it's no, force it. Force it. If you really want something, force it. The problem is, of course, that the Republicans are not going to work with the Democrats. That's the problem. It's not Trump. It's just the fact that the Democrats are sitting here saying, no, we want you to spend an additional $1 trillion. And we want to bring back all of the things that were cut from like Medicaid, Medicare, all that stuff. We want all of this additional money to go to illegal aliens and things of that nature. That's what we want. And they're trying to lay it at Trump's feet. But the reality of it is, it's not Trump. It's the two houses of Congress. And rightfully so, I think the Republicans absolutely should. I mean, it's just, yeah. Anyway. Well, what's really strange about all this is that the White House has kind of just said, hey, you know what? If you guys don't frickin' figure this out and you go ahead and shut down the government because you can't come to a conclusion, well, that just plays right into our hands. That plays into our hands because the White House has made it clear that they're going to go nuclear should they do. Should nothing come out of this, the White House has said through the Office of Management and Budget that, we're gonna mass fire people across the federal workforce if Democrats decide to shut down the government. So, Democrats have been like, hey, you know what? We need to add this 1.5 trillion progressive reckless wish list, quote unquote. But yeah, the memo that came out of the OMB says over the past 10 fiscal years, Congress has consistently passed continuing resolutions on or by September 30th on a bipartisan basis. Unfortunately, congressional Democrats are signaling that they intend to break this bipartisan trend and shut down the government in the coming days over a series of insane demands, including $1 trillion in new spending. The statement continues and says, as such, it has never been more important for the administration to be prepared for a shutdown if Democrats choose to pursue one. Now, the House narrowly passed the GOP-led continuing resolution in a 217 to 212 vote, seeking to keep the government open through November 21st. The funding bill was actually a pretty clean one, 91 pages. That's clean. It should have been one page. Anyway, that introduced or included anomalies to increase funding for security, allocating $30 million for Congress, $30 million for the executive, and $28 million for the judicial branches of government. As the memo points out, the clean CR was consistent with previous bipartisan funding bills. Despite this, Democrats refused to reach across the aisle to keep the government open and instead introduced their own bill containing $1.5 trillion in that wish list. The Senate is now tasked with taking up the CR. We're talking like mere days. I think the 30th is on Tuesday. So, yeah. And, of course, all the Democrats have taken to social media trying to blame Trump. For all of this. But you know what's kind of interesting, though, is some people remember not that long ago that Senate Democrats earlier this year were unwilling to shut the government down over fears of exactly what the White House is saying they're going to do. Mass firings and deep cuts to spending. But now they've sort of changed their tune. They've decided, well, and this, honestly, I have a feeling the reason why they're doing this is because they realize that they're not going to be able to win in the courts because they can't. The executive branch has the power to fire whomever they wish at any particular agency because that's the power of the executive branch, and the Supreme Court has backed that up. But yet, these folks, these Democrats, have decided to further dig into their position that Congress needs to spend this additional money. There's never been a tax that Congress has ever, or that the Democrats have ever not loved, nor has there ever been a spending bill that the Democrats have ever not loved. So, anyway, yeah. The Republicans, of course, because of this, are calling foul on the Democrats' position and contend that the Democrats' rhetoric is hypocritical, which is true. But then again, Democrats are always hypocritical. They are hypocritical 100% of the time. They never look in the mirror. And, so, because, again, the Democrats back in March, when the government was on the brink of closure back then, they went ahead and said, okay, well, we're going to stay open. And they passed the CR. I know Chucky Schumer took a lot of heat for that one, because he actually jumped the shark, per se, and went ahead and voted with the Republicans to keep the government open. But Anyway, yeah, this is just going to be interesting. We're gonna have to watch and see what happens here in the very near future with this entire situation. Well, we've got some new news. Shifting gears here. We've got some new news with regards to January 6th. Remember how a bunch of us were saying, hey, there's a good possibility that there were, yeah, sorry about that, Angus got a little barking. Anyway, you remember back in when we were discussing January 6th, there was a possibility that the FBI had a bunch of informants, and then we had all those testimonies and everything else, and the FBI said, no, I don't know how many we had. We only had 6 or whatever it was. It was like some astronomically low number. Even the DOJ in Inspector General put out a report back in December 13th of 2024 saying that there were no undercover FBI agents in the crowds on January 6th, and that only a handful of the, I guess it was 26. Well, still, that's 1/10 of what they say were there now. Or no, 10%, not 1/10, 10% of that. Anyway, the 88-page document that came out from the Inspector General's report said, we found no evidence in the materials we reviewed or the testimony we received showing or suggesting that the FBI had undercover employees in the various protest crowds or at the Capitol on January 6th. Yeah. So why is it that now we come to find out that the FBI had 274 plainclothes agents embedded in the crowds, according to a congressional source? So the FBI has finally acknowledged that it had 274 plainclothes agents in the massive crowds on January 6th. And that's more than 4.5 years after these questions had been asked and raised about in terms of the level of FBI involvement that day. A senior congressional source said that the number is not necessarily a surprise, since FBI often embeds counter-surveillance personnel at large events. But given the FBI's, until now, steadfast refusal to disclose the level of its presence. Do you remember Christopher Wray sitting there saying, I don't know how many people we had. No, we didn't really have anybody there. There wasn't anybody there. Remember that? Remember that? I remember that. I remember him saying, no, yeah, I don't know how many there were, but I know we didn't have very many. Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. How much more are we going to have to uncover and look at and just be, again, conspiracy theorists on the right have turned into spoiler alerts on the right. That's what we are. We have now gotten to the point where we are spoiling the truth and sending it out there. Yeah. This is just horrible. So I guess, in a way, you can see, so the OIG report, of course, said that they had suggesting that they had undercover employees. I guess you could interpret that based on how one reads undercover agents versus plainclothes agents. Some kind of nuance. Oh, it's semantics. Really? It's semantics, huh? And also, the DOJ Inspector General said that only 3 of the FBI informants had been assigned by the Bureau to come to Washington and report on domestic terrorism subjects who were possibly attending the event. Yeah. Well, of the 26 informants that were there, these aren't the plainclothes agents, I don't believe, although there really isn't a clear delineation as to whether or not any of these 26 are part of the 274 count. But they basically said that of the 26 that they first said, oh yeah, we had some informants there, 4 of them had entered the Capitol. None of them was authorized to break the law or enter a restricted area, nor was any confidential human source directed by the FBI to encourage others to commit illegal acts. Except there's only one problem. There was a January 6th defendant who filed in May of 2024 in a court filing. This is defendant William Pope. William Pope listed nearly 50 FBI agents and others working under the Bureau's auspices on January 6th. And these people came from places like the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, NCIS, the U.S. Army Counterintelligence, and other agents who later wrote probable cause affidavits for January 6th arrest warrants. And what's funny, though, is that they are also all saying that, yeah, just like the undercover Metropolitan Police Department officers who have already acknowledged that they did incite the crowds by helping protesters climb over barriers, encouraging them to continue on into the Capitol, and applauding those that were committing vandalism. Now, wait a minute. What? Yeah. So there you go. Yep. Now, most of the video footage that's been shot by the dozens of undercover MPD officers on January 6th hasn't been made public at all, despite the attempts by Pope to dislodge them through court motions. But yeah, seriously, this is getting horrible. So now we have essentially evidence, clear evidence that, number one, there was a bunch of people, a bunch of FBI undercover agents in the crowd, along with confidential human sources, along with MPD departments officers that encouraged people to do what is going on, what was going on there, like climbing over the barriers, go into the Capitol, commit vandalism. So now the question is whether or not the FBI informants or the FBI undercovers also did this exact same thing. January 6th, folks, I don't know how much more information that we can get. If you still believe that January 6th was an insurrection, you're a complete idiot. Yes, you are a complete idiot. Now, January 6th, don't get me wrong, had some rioting going on. Not much, but some. But it's nowhere near what the BLM riots did. It was nowhere near the damage or the death there. But the left keeps pushing it. The left keeps saying, oh, January 6th, January 6th. Yeah. The FBI was there. So were all these other agencies. They were all there. Who knows what they might have incited. But it was all done in fun, right? Yeah. Done in fun. Yeah. Like I said, if you are still of the belief that January 6th was a coordinated insurrection in an attempt to overthrow an election, you are a complete, stupid, utter moron. Just saying. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about Yeah, let's do this one. All righty. As you've probably noticed, I mean, I keep pushing them all the time, Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. They're not like the other tech companies that silenced, that we just found out about Google. Google went ahead and admitted that they went ahead and kicked people off for pressure from the Biden administration. We already knew that Facebook caved to it a long time ago because Mark Zuckerberg said that they did. Rumble didn't. Rumble is building the real alternative to big tech. It puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium. It's an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just content that you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off of an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium. That's rumble.com/ that's the question mark key for those that don't know on your keyboard, /premium, and use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO to get the $10 off your annual subscription. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium, use promo code STUDIO to get $10 off your annual subscription today. All right. Well, folks, and sorry, let me get a drink here. I'm just drinking an iced green tea, folks. That's it. Anyway, you remember when that trucker in Florida killed those 3 people in that passenger van? We talked about it on this program. Well, now we have another non-English speaking truck driver that has now crashed, caused another crash. And it's a major one, too. So, what happened essentially was that this person named Dahlia Coleman, she apparently was driving somewhere where she got crashed. She got crashed into by an illegal alien driving an 18-wheeler. He slammed into her and her family. The crash resulted in her inability to walk, talk, eat orally, or attend kindergarten as planned. She was in a coma for 3 weeks and required 6 months of hospital treatment before her family could bring her home. On June 20th of 2024, a gentleman by the name of Partap Singh, he's an illegal alien from India, caused a multi-car pileup while driving a commercial 18-wheeler in California. Governor Newsom's Department of Motor Vehicles issued him a commercial driver's license. On August 29th of 2025, ICE arrested him in Fresno, California, pursuant to a warrant for his arrest. Singh will remain in ICE custody pending immigration proceedings, the Department of Homeland Security details. Marcus Coleman is speaking out about the crash. That's Dahlia's father. Coleman was describing it, saying that there was construction on the road with multiple signs warning of the lane closure, but Singh ignored the signs, likely not understanding them in English, and crashed into them. Apparently, Singh had crossed into the United States illegally in 2022, was released by the Biden administration. Then the state of California, and they go again, issued Singh a commercial driver's license. And Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom, of course, is not saying a word about this. Coleman said that they tried to reach Newsom, and he says, "We never received anything back from the governor. We never received a call back." Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said, Dahlia Coleman's, or maybe it's Delilah. Delilah. Yeah, it could be Delilah. Anyway, it's spelled Dalilah, so it's kind of an odd spelling. So it's probably Delilah. Anyway, Delilah Coleman's tragedy was entirely preventable. This, sadly, is yet another example of Gavin Newsom's California DMV issuing an illegal alien a commercial driver's license. How many more innocent people must become victims before Gavin Newsom stops playing games with American lives? The DHS is working around the clock to remove these dangerous aliens like Singh, who have no right to be in the U.S. Now, to be, again, factual about this entire thing, is that in order to have or hold a commercial driver's license, you must be able to communicate in English. Clearly, communicate in English. You have to be able to read it, you have to be able to speak it, you have to be able to write it. Now, you recall, not that long ago, I did, as part of the conversation about the Florida crash, that there was a listing of, and I showed you the chart of all of the wonderful things that what they were called the English language proficiency assessments. So whenever you pull somebody over, you need to, and they look like they are not going to be able to communicate in English, you need to administer one of these ELP assessments. And all they need to do is be able to provide correct responses to 12 verbal questions and accurately identify 4 highway signs. That's it. And this guy, this idiot, this illegal alien, only responded correctly to just 2 out of the 12. And only accurately identified 1 out of the 4 highway signs. Folks, all I'm saying is that this is law. This is federal law that these people have to do this. They have to be able to communicate clearly in English. And there was even a video that I saw, I can't remember if I played it or not, but there was a video that I saw that had a alien. I don't know, he wasn't illegal, he was just not a U.S. citizen. But anyway, he was saying, he's like, guys, learn English. It's not that hard. He's like, it's not that hard. Yeah. Well, apparently, the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, has now announced a plan. This in the Daily Signal. Give you guys something a little bit different to look at other than me. Has announced a plan today to prevent illegal aliens from driving commercial trucks in the United States. He says the process for issuing commercial driver's licenses is absolutely 100% broken. It has become a threat to public safety, and it is a national emergency that requires action right now. The announcement, of course, comes after the driver in Florida killed 3 people while making an illegal U-turn. California, of course, issued that driver's license too. So Duffy says the combination of a catastrophic failure of states to follow the law and a broken system has created an imminent hazard to American travelers. Nowhere in the country have we found a more egregious licensing situation than in the state of California. So now, the Department of Transportation has issued an emergency interim rule to prohibit non-citizens from being eligible for what's called a non-domiciled commercial driver's license unless they meet a stricter set of rules. California, of course, has 30 days to comply with these rules, or the Department of Transportation will withhold federal highway funds starting at nearly $160 million in the first year, and will withhold double that in the second year, should California not comply with these new rules. Duffy said it shows a reckless disregard for safety in California, and they should be ashamed of themselves. So California has 30 days to fix this. And by the way, we all know this, but if you get a CDL in California, you don't stay in California. You can drive nationwide. And so those California licensees are driving on roads in every single state in this country. And again, putting American families, American drivers at risk because of the bad action in California. Yep. So there you go. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration had launched a nationwide audit in June that uncovered a pattern of states issuing licenses illegally to foreign drivers, as well as the fact that even if the current regulatory framework is followed, it can still fail. So to get a CDL, non-domiciled individuals will now need an employment-based visa and will need to undergo a mandatory federal immigration status check using the systematic alien verification for entitlements system. The audit, of course, found the state that issued the most licenses to ineligible drivers was California. Gee, I wonder why. In California, more than 25% of the non-domiciled, meaning that they don't live here, non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses reviewed were improperly issued, according to the audit, allowing thousands of potentially unsafe drivers to hit the roads. This includes some with licenses extending as many as 4 years beyond the expiration date of the alien's documentation. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Guys, this is horrible. Well, to follow along with California, Colorado, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Texas, and of course my home state of Washington, because we have idiot governors too. We just got rid of Governor Idiot, and now we've got Governor Stupid. Ferguson. What an idiot. What a moron. Anyway, those five, 5 states were also identified as states with licensing patterns not consistent with federal regulation. Yeah. So anyway, I hope they do it. I hope they slap these people down because, yeah, they need it. They need it. Well, you recall the story that I gave you the other day with regards to the mayor of Dearborn. The mayor of Dearborn talking about the fact that there was a Christian minister that he was not welcome in the town. Now, I seem to recall in our past, towns within certain states that were, shall we say, negatively accepting. They weren't accepting at all. They would negatively affect the lives of African Americans or Black Americans. So this is just a throwback to that. So Dearborn, Michigan, once again, okay, there's some documents that were uncovered by the Federalist, and these documents show and suggest, surprise, surprise, unequal treatment. Yeah. A city, by the way, Dearborn, was described by a Jewish leader not that long ago as America's jihad capital. So an investigation by the Federalist finds the Arab-majority city has been extremely accommodating to Muslims, but not so much to minority Christians and Jews, particularly when it comes to the city's involvement in celebrating religious holidays. Civil rights attorneys Robert Muse and David Yershawami, wrote in a letter of concern to Hamoud, sent on Friday and exclusively obtained by the Federalist, says the bottom line is the city of Dearborn has become a hostile place for Christians and Jews. City Attorney Jeremy Romer is copied. Romer and Hamoud should be familiar with these two. The attorneys have won some high-profile cases and hefty judgments against Dearborn in the past for violating the religious civil rights of Christian clients. For now, the attorneys, American Freedom Law Center, which is a nonprofit Judeo-Christian law firm fighting for faith and freedom, is reminding the mayor and the city that the Arab-majority city can't play favorites with religious displays. While all of the residents of the city do not share the same faith, they do share the same rights guaranteed under the United States Constitution. Remember what I told you. Sharia law and the Constitution cannot coexist. It is impossible. The law firm's letter also continued and noted that there have been several instances in which city officials, particularly the mayor, have shown a preference for Islam over other faiths. The attorneys assert the city has failed to represent religious displays for Christians and Jews, and with the exception of secular displays, but has erected banners for the Muslim month-long religious observance of Ramadan. Documents obtained by the Federalist show taxpayers paid thousands of dollars for the Ramadan displays and other items. One double-sided banner cost over $1,500. The city paid another $825 for another sign, according to city invoices. Yeah. So, yeah. Folks, I'm just going to say this. Going to be a long, hard road to getting America back to where America needs to be, which is essentially, while I agree with the idea of the, and the purpose that government should not be involved in religious displays at all, or religious activities at all. It needs to stay out of it. That's the point. And that's exactly what this is doing. This mayor is basically showing a preference, which is giving a government thumbs up to the Muslim faith. And this is not the way government is supposed to be. Now, that being said, remember what I keep telling you, that the influence of religion on man's law or government is definitely allowed and is there. That's a one-way mirror, not a quote unquote wall of separation. So, but that being said, this is a problem. This is a big problem. And I'm telling you right now, litigation is not going to solve this little problem. It really isn't. And unfortunately, regardless of what we may think, this is a bit of a concerning challenge with all of this. Now, here's a couple of examples just from Dearborn itself in the piece. 2013, the city apologized to 4 Christian missionaries who police arrested and detained after praying and preaching the gospel at a festival in 2010. The city paid $300,000 to 4 members of the Members of Acts 17 Apologetics, according to Dearborn's Press and Guide newspaper, which filed a Freedom of Information Act request to obtain the information. Then at the September 9th City Council meeting, Hamoud lashed out at a Dearborn resident after the Christian minister calmly expressed his concerns about street signs named in the honor of a openly supportive gentleman of the work. I'm describing that wrong. So this guy, this individual who had the street signs named, he supported Hamas and Hezbollah openly, endorsing them as freedom fighters. So, yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, I'm telling you, people, telling you right now, it's coming. This is coming. And here's another example. So it's not just city governments that are having problems, but, well, here, front page magazine. Take a look at this thing. 3 Muslims arrested after shooting at a children's Christian prayer in Texas. Charges have been filed against 3 men in connection with a shooting on Sunday, September 21st, at the Rack Katy on Farm Road, I think it's FM 2855. It happened as a youth baseball player and coaches were out on the field. The coach for one of the teams is recovering after he was shot during a weekend baseball tournament there. So these 3 men were arrested on felony charges of deadly conduct with a firearm. The injured coach apparently was saying a pre-game prayer with the team. The gunfire, of course, sent players, coaches, and parents running for cover, but no one else was injured other than the coach. The media is trying to suggest that this is accidental. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite an accident that he was shot during a Christian prayer. Folks, I'm just telling you right now. See, we're bringing in these people. Now, look, if you're Muslim, I have nothing against you. If you're Muslim and you want to live in peace, fine. Live in peace. But I'm also going to tell you, too, that you need to understand that when you came here, you need to comply with the freedom that you're being given, which is essentially that you're supposed to come here and practice your religion in your own faith by yourself and not disturb anybody else's. Just as much as you want to have the right to practice your religion, other people have the right to practice theirs without interference from the government. This is totally ridiculous. So, yeah. Texas apparently does have a Islam problem that isn't being discussed either. So, folks, I'm telling you, it's going to get worse before it gets better. I hate to kind of be a Debbie Downer on a Friday, but this is the truth. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And in fact, toward that end, there's a piece in creators.com that by a person named Laura Hollis who says, brace yourselves. Goes through and talks a lot about, the different assassinations over time and Erica Kirk's word of forgiveness during the memorial service and so on and so forth. But the thing about it is that there are people who have been watching this and have been involved in this. For an example, this writer says Carolyn Barasenka, who is an author and a podcaster, has done extensive research, including undercover work, into most of America's extreme left organizations. Now, Carlin has been warning for years about these revolutionary groups and those who belong to them that will not bother to say anything about violence and are actually ramping up plans for more. Georgetown University, John Brown Club, is now advertising right now for new members with flyers saying, "Hey, fascist, catch," which is the same words inscribed on one of the murderers of Charlie Kirk bullets. Antifa Virginia is calling for an open war against ICE. And as of Wednesday, just this past week, another fatal shooting occurred at the ICE facility in Dallas. We talked about it. Folks, you can see it all around. You've got to understand, we still have roughly 3 years plus of a Donald Trump presidency. And if you honestly believe that these people are going to go quietly into the night and just give up, no, I guarantee you they won't. Now, this has been a silent, what they call a cold civil war for quite some time, because we are essentially trying to dig ourselves out of a morass of social contagions that have been impacting this country for the last 20, 30, 40 years. We need to stop this. We need to stop this. Our country is at a crossroads right now. Charlie Kirk knew it. You all know it. I know it. The Democrats know it. This is just the images and the vile responses that you saw during the and immediately after the Charlie Kirk murder is a wake-up call to all of us. This has been a long time in the coming. I mean, just as an example, Dearborn didn't just all of a sudden become the Muslim city in Michigan immediately. They had many people imported in there. They had many people imported. And all they've been doing is flocking to that part of the country. And now they have enough of a presence to be able to start pushing out the Jewish and the Christians in that community, just like they do in the Middle East. Just like they want to do in the Middle East. They want to get rid of Israel. Folks, we are at the crossroads. We are at the crossroads, and we need to stand up and make ourselves heard. The advantage that we have is we have a constitution still. But who knows how long that's going to last. All right, shifting gears really quick in our final minutes. So apparently that North Carolina judge who released the killer of Irina Zarutska, well, she now is facing removal, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody remembers that she actually did not ever go to law school. So she became a judge without being a lawyer. Anyway, there's a petition apparently running around that has asked for the removal of this judge. More than 11,000 signatures have been collected demanding the removal of this magistrate judge, despite the fact, and this is why, despite the fact that the perpetrator was mentally ill, repeat offender with 14 prior convictions. The judge went ahead and released him without bail in January after he was arrested for abusing the 911 system. And also, too, by the way, this is ridiculous. His release was apparently contingent upon a written promise that he would return for a court hearing. Yeah. So the petition, and again, that more than 11,000 signatures have been collected so far, reads in part, why was a mentally ill repeat offender allowed to walk free in Charlotte? After his most recent arrest, before he killed Irina, the man was released without bail by the magistrate judge Teresa Stokes. According to North Carolina lawmakers, Judge Stokes released him based solely upon a written promise to appear for a future court date. Yeah. Now, she reportedly reviewed his lengthy criminal record and possibly even his history of mental illness and still let him walk. Yeah. The signers of the petition are not alone. Members of the North Carolina Republican Congressman delegation or congressional delegation are also calling for her removal. Their argument is also based on Stokes' reckless decision to release Brown, based on a promise to appear at a future court date. The delegation's letter to Mecklenburg County Chief District Court Judge Roy Wiggins states in part, Miss Zarutska's murder was not only profound personal tragedy, but also a direct result of failure of judicial responsibility. By releasing a repeat violent offender and on nothing more than his written promise to appear, Magistrate Stokes displayed a willful failure to perform the duties of her office and engaged in conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice. Hopefully, they're going to kick her out. She deserves it. Totally deserves it. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget to hit those thumbs up or thumbs down, or in the case of 3 Chevy, some sideways. Across all of my platform, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is Saturday, 1 hour later, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.